day, friends of liberty. I am Mercy Otis Warren, and this is Voice of the Colonies, where we speak not in whispers, but in the full-throated truth of a people becoming a nation. This week's broadcast is brought to you by...
Tired of bottling up your righteous rage? Sign up for Patrick Henry's Scream Therapy. It includes fieldside primal hollering, group Liberty lung warm-ups, optional dramatic balcony shouts. Scream, "Give me liberty," or just scream. Your voice matters. Make it echo with Patrick Henry's Scream Therapy.
This second week of August, the colonies do not merely murmur of rebellion. They are building for war. Outside Boston, the fields of Cambridge and Roxbury stretch into a maze of canvas tents and muddy trenches. The newly formed Continental Army, under the command of General George Washington, is growing, but barely holding together. This army is not a professional force. It is a patchwork of farmers, tradesmen, and boys. Some so young, they lied about their age just to enlist. Washington's letters reveal a man burdened by frustration. He sees disorder, drunkenness, men whose enlistments expire in weeks, and everywhere the same gnawing scarcity. Powder, tents, clothing, medicine. Supplies are low, tempers high. The general does not command with ease, he endures with will. But hope does arrive on foot. Through dust and heat, Captain Daniel Morgan's rifle company has reached the encampment from Virginia. These men are no strangers to hardship. They come from the backwoods, lean, leather-clad, and long-armed with rifles known for their deadly precision. One report claims Morgan's men can strike a man's head at 200 yards. They carry with them not just weapons, but reputation. And in a camp of half-trained militia, that is power. Their arrival lifts spirits. Washington sees in them a glimpse of the disciplined force he so desperately needs. But even they are not immune to what comes next. Disease. With men packed shoulder to shoulder and heat pressing down like a smothering blanket, sickness spreads. Dysentery and fever creep through the tents. Makeshift hospitals appear in barns near Cambridge and Watertown. Local women armed with herbs and heart tend to the sick with what little they have. Camp surgeons do what they can, amputating where they must, and the smell of boiled bandages and vinegar mixes with sweat and blood. And still, more men come. Meanwhile, the army digs in, quite literally. All around Boston, fortifications grow. The ground is left scarred by the Battle of Bunker Hill and is now being carved even deeper. Redoubts rise in the sun. Earthworks stretch along the ridgelines. Blacksmiths across New England forge plowshares into bayonets, and carpenters, too, lay aside their homestead plans. In towns like Concord, barn frames go unfinished, while those men raise stockades and barricades instead. This is the backbone of the revolution, not in declarations, but in dirt and sweat. Yet as we build, others still resist. From upstate New York to the wooded hills of western Massachusetts, small conflicts flare between loyalist sympathizers and local militia. Property is seized, words turn to blows, families divide. And in New Hampshire, whispers spread of loyalist mapping, of routes and ridgelines being traced by men with quiet allegiances, perhaps in preparation for Crown raids along the Connecticut River Valley. And far across the sea, a silence that is louder than any cannon. The olive branch petition sent weeks ago by the Continental Congress in a final plea for peace has reached London. It now rests unopened on the desk of King George III. He has refused to even read it. And with that single decision, the last candle of reconciliation gutters out. If the king will not listen, then we must speak louder. We'll be back after these messages.
Tired of gnawing on the stale hardtack or chasing your dinner through the hedgerows? Introducing Longwood's Mess Kits, the finest dining solution for every campfire revolutionary. Each kit comes equipped with a sturdy tin plate, a rugged spoon, and a fork strong enough to spear even the toughest salted pork. Lightweight, easy to pack, and perfect for quick meals between skirmishes. Longwood's Mess Kits. Make sure you march into battle with a full belly and a free spirit.
How do you solve a problem like the British? You don't sing at 'em, you melt pewter and fire it right back. Introducing Liberty and Lead, your local Patriot-approved armament crafters. We turn your forgotten flatware into freedom-fighting firepower. Spoons to shot, mugs to musket balls, even Grandma's old curtain rods, cannon ready. Don't just set the table, defend it. Liberty and Lead, turning teaspoons into treason.
Welcome back. In the South, change comes with the turning of the soil. In rural Virginia, some planters abandon tobacco and instead sow corn and beans, staples to feed the militia. Their fields, once built for profit, now serve a greater cause. In the New England ports, cargo barrels arrive under cover of darkness, not filled with flour or rum, but with saltpeter and lead smuggled from the Caribbean or Dutch colonies. Powder mills, desperate for ingredients, depend on this shadow network. One Boston merchant wrote this week, "It is better to face the gallows than to leave our men without shot." And in schools once filled with scripture and Latin, revolution takes root. In Pennsylvania's Quaker towns, pacifist leaders caution against war, but younger schoolmasters are choosing a different path. In Germantown, they begin weaving patriot themes into spelling lessons and reading drills. One writes in a letter, "The children now recite liberty more fluently than Latin." It is a quiet revolution, but no less powerful. For what is a future without the hearts of its children? So take heart. The revolution is not a single thunderclap. It is a fire built in kitchens and camps, in barns and bookshops, in the hands of women, and in the minds of schoolboys. It is not only declared, it is built. I am your faithful correspondent, Mercy Otis Warren, and this has been Voice of the Colonies.